This is my current solar backup power system. This system has 400 amp hour batteries and one 230 amp hour battery. This is the remote control panel and the transfer switch. I wanted to increase the capacity of this system by adding this 200 amp hour battery, which I saw on sale in Amazon. As with any other battery, it came with the connecting screws for positive and negative terminals with color coded caps and a user manual and in fairly decent packing. The only problem with packing was by the time I received it, one corner of the box was damaged, but there was no damage to the battery. The battery came with a quick start guide with some useful information and a detailed user manual which contained all the specifications for voltage, charging instructions, and so on. The first step is to connect the battery to a charger and fully charge prior to connecting it to the battery array of the solar system. So prior to charging, I tested the voltage of the battery, which was 13.15, and that's about 50% charged. So prior to shipping, they have charged the battery up to about 50%. I tried charging the battery using this 5 amp charger, but it was taking very long. After about 6 hours, I stopped using this charger and connected the battery to a bigger charger. What you hear in the background is the fan noise of this 20 amp charger. In total, it took me about 12 hours to charge this battery. At the end of charging, the voltage was about 14.5. After charging the battery, I connected it to the system along with other batteries in parallel. Here is another view of the system after connecting the new battery. All the batteries are connected to two bus bars through fuses on the positive side. So this fuse B is for the new 200 amp hour battery, fuse A is for that 230 amp hour battery, and the other 4 fuses are for 100 amp hour batteries. Here is a better view of the bus bars again in the back. This is the inverter connected to the system through this 500 amp ANL fuse, and I also have a main cut-off switch. So in the back, wiring looks like this, and this is a GNL pure sine wave inverter. To assist with the surge demands of power, I have this 1 farad capacitor connected to the inverter as well. Is the other main component of the system, which is the charge controller. This is Renogy 60 amp MPPT charge controller. Charge controller is connected to the batteries and to the solar panels through these circuit breakers for safety. So here is another view of the complete system again. On this side, I have this fuse board, charge controller, inverter, and the batteries. So I ran the output from the inverter to this control center right next to the breaker panel of the house and isolated 4 circuits to be powered by this system. So the output from the inverter coming through that breaker, green breaker marked solar, and the connection to the panel is the other breaker. This is the automatic transfer switch. The remote control panel of the inverter helps me turning on the inverter remotely. So here is the distance between that battery storage station and this panel right next to the breaker panel of the house. I have this single 50 amp breaker feeding the 4 circuits of the sub panel. So when I turn that off, when the inverter power is on, the transfer switch automatically switches to solar power. Now you can see the small wattage 40 watts displaying on that panel because something is drawing a small amount of current. When I turn on the main power using that breaker, the transfer switch turns off the solar power to the 4 circuits I have selected here. So that's basically how the system works. On the isolated circuits, I have one big refrigerator, one upright freezer, and some lights. On good sunny days, I can leave the system on 24/7 continuously. Also on the panel, you can see below the breaker box, I have a L1430 outlet. I can use a generator cable and connect it to the generator inlet, which you can see on the right bottom on that wood panel to power the entire house in an emergency. So that's all about my DIY solar power backup system and how I upgraded it with this new 200 amp hour battery. I appreciate your comments and thoughts about this system. Thank you.